Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me from RockyTopInsider.com, it's Ryan Schumpert. Ryan, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. I think this is, we've been talking for a couple minutes before the show, and I wasn't very observant. Is it new banners at the bottom?
I did edit some stuff. Yeah, I did some. Okay. I did do some like, not to brag, but I know my way around Canva and Photoshop. Ryan Schumpert.
Okay, yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
I think the caps looks better. I was going back and forth on caps, and I think.
Okay, yeah, that is.
What do you think?
Difference. It's hard for me to say without comparing it, but I think this looks good. I like this.
I think it adds more juice. Yeah,
a little more pop for sure.
I think so. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, hey, it's a new season starting here in a couple weeks. So new season, new look, who dis? New phone, who dis? Ryan Schumpert.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, folks, you can watch this show on YouTube every single weekday right here on the Chase Thomas podcast. 2.5 thousand subscribers and counting each and every day, and growing more and more each and every day there. So make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, you hit that subscribe button, hit thumbs up, and comment. And let us know what you think of today's episode. And if you're listening on audio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or however you get your podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button if this is your first time listening and you have not subscribed. And also leave the show a 5-star rating and write us a review. Helps other people find the show, and it helps this very show continue to grow. You can read all about my Tennessee sports writing over there at sportsrenaissanceman.com. Make sure you subscribe and check us out there if you want to read me. You can read Ryan over at Rocky Top Insider and all of his great coverage all across the board: football, basketball, baseball, etc. So make sure you are locked in on Rocky Top Insider and Ryan's work there. And then check out chasethomaspodcast.com for episodes, past episodes, full episodes, links, all that good stuff, information about this very Tennessee Balls show. Ryan Schumpert, we had to do some housekeeping out of the gate here. You were flabbergasted by that. We went straight into a serious open advertising. You're like, whoa, because we usually just dive in.
The mic peaked. That's what led to that reaction. Yeah,
my mic peaked.
Your mic peaked, yeah, just for a second there.
Sorry about that.
A little dry. Hey, no worries. Just a moment.
Can I tell you, you weren't on the call? Were you the day when I had the Oakland coach on last week?
I was, yes.
Okay. Did you have your headphones on when the alarm went off?
I did. Yes. Yeah, the big bullhorn. I was also getting a chuckle because I think you were, talking about how hot it's been with them, or he was saying something about one cooler days. Yeah, Oakland has an indoor practice facility.
Oh,
like an indoor turf field. So I don't, with all due respect to the Oakland's coach, enjoyed him being on the pod, give some good insight on Dwan Morris and Joel Wyatt and some other Tennessee related things. I don't want to hear him complaining about the heat. He's got an indoor practice facility.
I didn't know that they had an indoor practice facility.
Someone can tell me if I'm wrong, but the last time I was over at Oakland, probably about 10 years ago, my understanding is that it was an indoor practice facility.
How far?
Could be wrong, so don't bully me too much. I will apologize formally for saying he shouldn't be complaining if there isn't one. But that's my understanding.
How far is Oakland from Brentwood area?
45 minutes or so, 40 minutes or so. Depends on time of day.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but I think my brother was playing high school football. I think they played a jamboree or maybe scrimmage out there 1 year. But Blackman's, who Brentwood played a lot when I was in school. And I think they played Oakland too, maybe early in high school. Jacoby Stevens, I think, got a pick 6, if I remember correctly. It's in a flashback Oakland name. But yeah, my brother played against Juwan Jennings both in basketball a number of times and in football.
Interesting.
I watched Juwan Jennings have a sick dunk at the state basketball tournament. It wasn't against Brentwood, but he had a sick dunk against, I can't remember who it was, some Memphis team in circa like 2014 probably, maybe 2015.
Juwan was kind of like the Memphis school, kind of Jeff Francoeur for us Parkview heads in the early 2000s, multi-sport star. But Francoeur was baseball and football. The other one, it is cool to just see some guys in high school where you're like, oh, that's going to be a professional athlete. Yeah. Like there's just some guys, it's just kind of wild. You just see them. Like I remember when I was in middle school, I went and saw Lou Williams. He played at our high school, and you just see him play. And I thought he was going to be like Anthony Edwards. Like he was unbelievable what he was able to do at the high school level, like pulling up from half court, just hitting threes from the logo. And you're just like, what is happening? Like it was kind of wild. I remember he was signing shoes after the game. Like, it was one of those deals where it was a must-see event. Former South Gwinnett Comet Lou Williams, but it is cool when you see those guys. And I know Knoxville fans, you got to see that with T. Higgins years ago. I imagine for the folks who watched Oak Ridge up close, and Walter Nolan a couple of years ago, you're like, oh, this is an SEC interior defensive lineman here. Like, this is different. Tyreek King, we'll see this fall. I think he's going to look very different from clips I've already seen at Catholic. He's the real deal. But yeah, it's always cool when you see those guys.
Brentwood played Oak Ridge my junior year. I think Tegan was a year ahead of me. My senior year, or my junior year, his senior year in the state basketball tournament, and he had some just unbelievable athletic plays. I will always remember because you're sitting in the student section behind the basket.
Yeah.
And Brentwood had like a run out. One of my friends actually, and he caught the ball, maybe between the 3-point line and the free throw line, and you're like, he's going to go in for an easy layup. And he goes in for a finger roll, and T. Higgins, just like Superman, comes out of nowhere from behind him and swats that thing into like the second row of the seats at the Murphy Center, which if you've been to the Murphy Center, you know that they're pretty elevated. It was like unbelievable in seeing the because you just didn't see him at all from like my view. And then the replay of seeing how far he came. And then another good one, you talk about those two sport star guys. Sonny Gray's a good one. I mean, he's older than me. He's probably more around your age, but at Smyrna, he was the starting quarterback on a state championship football team, and obviously went on to be a very good pitcher in the big leagues.
Interesting. Yeah, it's always cool. I mean, I saw Matt Olson. He went to alma mater too, and I went back, I remember, with my grandfather to watch him play in the state title game, and it was different. It's hard to explain until you see those guys up close. You're like, oh, that's a Major League Baseball player, like playing with kids. Like, this is actually kind of crazy that they're the same age. I mean, he was launching dingers. Like, Matt Olson was like crazy high school power as a senior, and he pitched too, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's really cool to see at that level. But it'll be here for you now. I'll be at I believe Maryville and Alcoa this Friday. Big time matchup.
Battle of Pistol Creek.
Yeah, it's at Alcoa. Alcoa moved up this year, and Maryville obviously has state title aspirations. So does Alcoa. We'll see if they're both able to reach their destination, but excited to see that up close this weekend. But before we get there, in week 0, Ryan Schumpert, Go Balls 247's Patrick Brown, friend of the program, released his projected depth chart here this week. And I know you've done your depth chart and looking at it, and I wanted to pick your brain here. Where on the depth chart, and let's just look too deep here, looks the most concerning, and where do you think looks the deepest 2 weeks out from kickoff against Syracuse?
Whole team or just defense?
Whole team.
Okay. I mean, it's hard not to say receivers, not the singular most worrisome.
Yeah.
So, look, I'll go there. We've talked about that ad nauseum for 8 months now, so I won't.
We got to avoid it. People are really tired of me talking about the receivers.
Yeah.
And
so,
yeah.
I'll pivot to defensive tackle because I think a lot of people aren't giving, like, I'm kind of worried about him at defensive tackle, to be honest with you. Like, I think the Daevin Hobbs injury is a big deal. And that's real. I was concerned about it before because I just didn't feel good about who the report's going to be. And now all of a sudden it's going to be both the backups are going to be guys that have never played meaningful SEC football, really meaningful Division I football at that, so it's going to be, that's the one I would say from a worrisome standpoint. On the positive, not worried. Running back's an easy one. I think they got 3 really good running backs. I think even if they had an injury there, I don't know if they would go 3 deep, but I think DeJuan Morris is in a spot that, if needed, he probably can help them as a third guy this year or a second back. So that's a spot I think they're in a really good one on. And then corner, I'll continue to say that, it's being tested right now at a big rate. Jalen McMurray's having to slide inside to play star with the Boo Carter situation being so uncertain. I think Ty Redmond's emergence there has been a big deal. The Alpharetta native, Milton High School. I'll take the words from Chase. So yeah, I think they're in a really good spot there, which is, it's obviously being tested here early as Jermon McCoy works his way back, and they're moving some pieces with Boo Carter's uncertainty.
It's interesting you brought up corner because I would say they're thin right now. You don't want to throw a true freshman like Ty Redmond. You can be high on him going forward. I'm high on Trey Poteet too. I think he's gonna be a good player for them down the line, but they're thin if they have to play McMurray. It goes back to the Boo thing. I think they're fine at corner early on without Dramad if Boo is back, but if Boo is not available for Georgia, they're thin there. Like, I don't know what that rotation is going to look like. Is McMurray comfortable playing 50 plus snaps at Snar, because there's not really a clear backup for him. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know how they're going to work that. Everywhere else, you're fine. Like Turrentine started 16 straight games. Like he's rock solid. They're going to rotate Farouk and Beasley. They're going to be okay there at the opposite safety spot. And Colton Hood, by all accounts, plug and play guy. Like you said, and if they're healthy, if Colton and Ricky are healthy for the first couple weeks of the season, they should be more than fine. I will say, though, I think you're 100% right, defensive line. And it just sucks for Daevin because Daevin Hobbs, I think, was on track to be the Omar Norman Lott in breakout in the interior, where I could have seen him be that third down pass rusher in that Omar Norman Lott spot. I think he had that kind of upside. And that's not to say he's gone for the year, but it's just we don't know how long it's going to be because you know how Tennessee football is in terms of keeping us up to date on injuries and when a player is actually going to be back in a game setting. So we'll see when that ultimately happens for Hobbs. But I mean, the sooner the better, because like you said, Josh Shell has not played an FBS snap. He was good at the FCS level, but that's a big jump up, especially in the SEC.
He does
Nathan
not
Robinson
look like an SEC
looks the part.
tackle.
Yeah, and Nathan Robinson looks the part, but he has not helped in 3 years. So it's a big year for him. He has the potential, but he has not been able to stay healthy. So you're relying on him. And then you have Jamal Wallace, JUCO kid, who maybe he's able to make that jump, but he's dealt with injury issues at Tennessee as well. So I don't know if that's how many snaps he can realistically give you. But losing Elijah Simmons is looming large. You know, like Omar Norman Lott was going to be hard to replace, but Elijah really came on this final year at Tennessee. It would have been nice to have him back for one more year. But I do think Utley and Campbell are going to play. And you and I are both very high on Utley and Campbell going forward, but they're true freshmen, man. And I don't know how much they're going to be counted on. I mean, Moy and Eason, I guess, are going to play more snaps. The rotation's probably going to have to be thinner early on with Rodney Garner, but I am curious. I'm not in the business of doubting Rodney Garner and being able to figure this out, but I do think it's fair to say the interior is probably the thinnest it's been in a couple of years at Tennessee.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's the thing I would just say is it's like they've been really good on the defensive line. In large part, they've had a couple standout guys. James Pierce was a standout. Omar Norman Lott was a standout. And they had other guys that were, don't get me wrong, they were good players, but the strength's been in numbers. The strength's been in being able to rotate, especially a defense tackle. The strength has been in last year being able to rotate and just keep guys fresh. They don't have that at all. Well, 3 deep. You're pushing to me right now 2 deep. And look, some of these guys can emerge, and my concerns could, be answered easily. But I like Bryson Eason. I like Jackson Moy. I think those guys are solid players. How effective do you feel? How similar do they look from an effective standpoint when they were playing 20 snaps a game to when they were playing 50 snaps a game at that position? Because I think it'll look a lot different, or at least that would be my concern. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. And look, they still have that at defensive end. They still have that at Leo. They have that level of depth. So it's not like it's across the board on the defensive line. They're not deep anymore, but it was already something I think people were overlooking at defensive tackle. But I mean, it's a lot different when you feel like, all right, you got to have one guy step up to have a good 2 deep. And now you need 2 of those guys. You really only feel, at least I only feel good about 2 guys they have in that room.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I can't wait to see actually what the snap count looks like against Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's going to be one I'm tracking throughout the game and definitely the morning after. Next up, Clarence Massamba, Ryan Schumpert, arrived on campus, looks the part. The stock is through the roof. Stonks are through the roof, Ryan Schumpert. You know how I feel about Massamba. And he's the late guy on the periphery. Could he take advantage here, even though they're not really practicing right now because Eitan Berg is still not on campus yet, right? Because he's still playing overseas. Correct. So maybe he gets acclimated a little bit faster, just doing some, just talk, working with coaches, this, that, and the other, and meeting his teammates, building some chemistry. I don't know where Massamba's at.
He had a great fit on in the video arriving on campus.
100%. Massamba's going to be a character, man. I'm so in on Clarence Massamba. Can't say enough about the guy. Haven't seen him shoot a basketball inside TBA. Already sold. You know me. Already sold on Clarence Massamba. But what do you make of him arriving on campus? Is he a sneaky dark horse to be a factor at the 2 this fall? Or because last week you talked about Berg was your guy who might be the long-term starter at 2 this season. Is there a chance Massamba, with his frame, what you've heard from coaches, and just what you've seen on film overseas, and just the fact that he's coming over kind of like Berg at a much younger age, playing professionally, it's still different playing against professionals, and it's a better competition than what some of these other guys were playing as true freshmen.
Yeah, probably some. that's where I just don't know. Like overtime elite, is it really that much better? Playing on an under 21 team in France, that much better.
Well,
than, like,
overtime elite's just stacked, right? Like that's just one of those where they're just.
Well, I just think there's so much that has happened in high school basketball now.
Yeah,
all these guys go to prep schools, and now I'm thinking about
Link Academy has what, like 4 guys from Tennessee over the years in the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll see. You know, I'm not sure that'll continue as much. Rod Clark had the connection there, but it's just the nature of it with all these prep schools. Now, I will say, to your point, Tennessee's freshman class kind of had a lack of that. You know, Dwayne Brown was at Hoover High School playing more regular in a good league, but more regular. Troy Henderson was John Marshall over in Richmond, not a prep school. And then I feel like I'm blanking on somebody, but Amari Evans was really the one guy in that prep class that was playing at that type of level.
Dwayne Brown?
Yeah, Dwayne Brown. He was at Hoover.
Yeah. You said I was going over. Did you say Dwayne Brown?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I said the wrong name, but I said Hoover. Nate Mintz, the other one, and he played at a little bit of a prep school, but it wasn't, it was more just a private school.
He transferred, right? He didn't go to the same school throughout high school, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Where's he from originally?
He's from Virginia.
He actually is from Virginia.
Yes.
Okay.
Him and Troy Henderson played on the same AAU team.
Yeah. But Troy Henderson lived in New York.
No. Troy Henderson lived in Virginia. He's from
the whole time?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
He was committed to Fordham, which is in New York.
Okay. I thought he actually was still someone in New York as well. I thought they just played okay. I thought he moved. Okay. Troy Henderson was not that guy. Okay.
But back to the topic, or the Clarence Massamba. Look, like, I'm not going to rule it out just because I think the opportunity is there. It wouldn't be my pick. I don't think it's the most likely scenario. And I guess that's the point I was trying to get at. I think, we say international. I think apparently he is going by Ethan Berg, not Eton Berg. So Ethan Berg.
He's going by Ethan?
He's going by Ethan.
Okay. I heard someone do Eton Berg last week, so I was like, we did another change.
Well, I mean, that's how his name's actually pronounced.
Or Eton. I think that's what it was. It was Eton. Okay. Someone did an Eton last week.
Yeah.
We got to nail this down. We got 3 months to go, but we got to nail this down.
Mine's from the mouth of the Tennessee SID. Had a conversation with him last week. Wants to go by Ethan. Thinks it'll be easy. To me, that's setting up for a Santi situation in which he changes.
I was going to say, because Santi changed his mind at the end of it.
Yeah, Santi didn't really change his mind. He just... we're so off topic on Clarence Massamba. The backstory on the Santi was Santi's family was there for games, and the SID at the time, Tom Sakoyak, heard them pronounce the name, and it wasn't how he was pronouncing it, or everybody was pronouncing it how he had told people to pronounce it, and he was like, "How do you pronounce your last name?" And he told him, and he's like, "Well, that's not what we've been going by." And he's like, I didn't really care. And so then Tom just changed it in the pronunciation guide, didn't tell anybody. And then there was the whole ordeal with Fran Fraschilla calling it the Mohegan Sun, that event Tennessee played in, calling him by the wrong name, or calling him by the actual pronunciation. Him and Tennessee fans bickering back at each other. Incredible stuff. John Schumpert trying to not ostracize the fan base of the game he was calling, but also backing up his partner, putting a hilarious spot. So Santi didn't request a change. It wasn't like a JG situation. But to your point, it did change. And this kind of, to me, feels like we're setting up for the same thing. But
this is where you push back as SID. You go, no, like, it's your name. Like, we need to get your name right. The fan base needs to get the name right. Like, don't worry about it. It's not that complicated. Like,
it really isn't that complicated.
No. Like, but I like how nice they are. Vescovy and it, like, they're just like, it's whatever. Do your best. Like, this is gonna be easier for the.
It's Manny Marin's the same way too, because it's like true. Manny Marine, or I think a little bit more accent on it. But he's like, Marin will be easier for people. Let's just go by Marin.
You're like, all right. I don't know. I do appreciate their kindness, but it's also like, it is your name. Like,
it's good. It's a good sign in the transfer portal era of low maintenance guys, but. You can be a little more high maintenance and just asking people to pronounce your name correctly.
Maybe that's something that we look at going forward, is you bring in guys and you intentionally pronounce their name wrong. And then if they like make a stink about it, they're like, that's not my name. And they're like, is it Rodney Reese? And you're like, nope. Rodney Rickey. Yeah. And then,
to try to be short and to the point about what we're talking about. I think Berg's level of competition has been way harder, has been way more difficult. He'll be 23 by the time he gets on campus, or he will turn 23 in the first days he's on campus if he gets here a little earlier than I expect. So, Yeah, I mean, it's possible. There hasn't been a ton of separation there. I just kind of think Massamba is a younger guy. I think he's a little bit more of a raw prospect, and he is still arriving late without quite the experience that Berg has when he arrives late. So he wouldn't be my pick, but again, there's going to be opportunity, and I wouldn't say that there's a 0% chance or anything like that.
Vol baseball season review, Ryan Schumpert, Tegan Kuhns. I was a Tegan guy all year long. How did he fare? What did he get better at? Where did he struggle in 2025 for Tennessee?
Yeah, I think he just struggled with consistency. I think he struggled being able to throw off-speed pitches for strikes consistently. I think, and look, there's a little bit of a chicken and egg here. I think he struggled pitching out of big spots when he got into jams. You could argue he wasn't given as much of a chance as he should have been in some of those opportunities. And there were parts of the year that I agreed with that. And I thought if Tennessee was going to reach its potential, they had to kind of let Tegan Kuhns sink or swim a little bit. So, look, you could argue, some of that maybe he should have been given more opportunities to prove he could pitch through some adversity. But no, I mean, he's clearly a very talented guy. I think you saw that. I think you saw why everybody was so high on him. And I think it's forgotten about or maybe not known because, I think a lot of college baseball fans, they aren't paying attention to every single update that happens in February about a team. But Tegan Kuhns was injured a little bit before the season. He got really sick at the start of the year. He lost a bunch of weight as a guy that was already super, super thin. So he faced a lot of adversity last year, before even getting to SEC play, before winning that weekend starting job. I think he's a guy that will benefit from a full off season. Hopefully, knock on wood here, that he doesn't get injured or anything like that and can continue to grow into weight room with Q. I think that'll be very beneficial for him. And, I think everybody expects him to have a big role in the weekend for the Vols in 26.
Yeah, I wonder where he ultimately slots in. I mean, there's so much competition, but I mean, are we for sure putting Tegan in the weekend rotation with how much competition there's going to be? Could he be a Tuesday guy? Now that Tuesdays are a little different?
You're acting like Tuesdays are going to be way more different than they are. There's no chance Tegan Kuhns is not that different. I think you'll see more guys pitch 2 or 3 innings, but I don't think you'll see the quality of pitcher change much. There's not a world where Tegan Kuhns is. It's still a line from you, Chase, that I love. If Tegan Kuhns is pitching on Tuesdays for Tennessee, something's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah,
I would pencil him in as a weekend starter.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There. Where do you think?
Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
But look, there's going to be competition. It wouldn't stun me if he's not a weekend starter.
Yeah.
Surprise, yes. Not stunned.
It's August 18th. Who's your weekend rotation right now?
Landon Mack, Tegan Kuhns. I'll say Evan Blanco for the last.
Oh, swerve on the Sunday. Is Siebert right or lefty?
Righty.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay. A lot of righties. A lot of big righty arms. Appenzeller's righty too, right?
No, he's lefty.
Oh, he is lefty. He could be.
Appenzeller's lefty. Blanco's lefty, Arvidsson's lefty, and Hindi is lefty. Those are the 4 big left-handed arms that I would circle.
Okay. Ryan, the Athletics, Chris Vanini leaving Tennessee out of his top 25 here. He has him at 26. Do you agree or disagree with his reasoning?
Yeah, I don't know if it was as much his reasoning, because he's writing about 134 teams in there. So he's just kind of writing a sentence on each team. And his sentence was, everybody will look at Nico, but they also lost Dylan Sampson. I don't know if that's necessarily his reasoning, that he wasn't diving a ton into it, being like, this is why Tennessee's is 26 and not higher for me. If that were his reasoning, I would disagree with it. I mean, it's a loss, but I think Tennessee's going to be able to run the ball well again this year. So, it's what I've said a number of times. I think you get to 15 and 28, 30. Put the 15th best team in the country and the 30th best team in the country on a neutral site on the first Saturday of the season. I'm not sure the line would be more than 3.5 points. It's pretty tight in that grouping. So I would have Tennessee probably a couple spots higher, but I don't think it was crazy where he had him at.
I think it would, like, where Tennessee ultimately landed in the AP poll, I was like, I'd rather than be unranked. Tennessee was unranked going into 2022. And I was on this very program saying that Tennessee was going to win 10 games in 2022 before the year. You were on this podcast, Ryan Schumpert, where I was on the Hendon Hooker year 2, where Tennessee was the only top 10 scoring offense in 21 not to win double-digit games. But when I think about Vanini's reasoning, it's one of those things where I understand why people look at Dylan Sampson, right? Like, he was an SEC Offensive Player of the Year. Like, Dylan Sampson had a great year. Tennessee is going to be just fine running the football without Dylan Sampson. And it's not a Dylan Sampson thing. Like, Dylan Sampson's a NFL back. Like, he is going to be starting football games, it looks like, for the Cleveland Browns at some point this year. The bigger loss is Dont'e Thornton. Like, everyone looks at Nico first, and then they go to Dylan Sampson. The one that they have to replace that I worry about them replacing the most is Thornton, because Thornton led FBS in yards per reception at 5.4. And that's a different type of deal. Like, the games Tennessee lost were not games that Dylan Sampson got shut down in. That wasn't the reason. The reason was because Dont'e Thornton didn't nab 2 balls for 60 yards and a score. Like, that was the difference. When Dont'e Thornton did not play and not get any snaps or any receptions against Georgia or Ohio State, or having 1 reception against Arkansas total and didn't go for 6, like, that was the difference. Like, that's where Tennessee's losses popped up, was Dont'e Thornton was not a factor in those big games, and in those losses, I should say. And it's that's who they have to replace, is the chunk plays. Like, Tennessee's going to be able to run the ball. For them to win 9 or 10 games, they have to find that it doesn't have to be an FBS leader in yards per reception, but it does have to be a guy who does take the top off defenses and scare defenses where they're not going to load the box and make it harder on Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop and company to thrive in 12 personnel the way Tennessee's going to have to do. Like, someone's going to have to step up. And it's like beating a dead horse here when it comes to the wide receiver conversation, but it is 100% factual to me that the bigger loss is Dont'e Thornton for where Tennessee's depth is and roster is and scheme is than Dylan Sampson. I think a lot of people nationally might overlook that, and I understand, but for you and I that watch every snap of these games and see what this offense looks like both ways, it's Thornton. Like, there's just no way around it. Like, if you don't find a Thornton replacement, this offense is more stuck in the mud than you saw even last year. Like, you're going to have some guys who can scare you on the outside or in the slot. Maybe that's Braylon Staley, but there's just no path that this passing game or this offense can get to 9 to 10 wins if there is not somebody like Dont'e Thornton making plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the roster aspect is what it is. You know, it's what the roster looks like without those 2 guys. I think, and don't get me wrong, like, I was pounding to beat the drum that Dont'e Thornton should play more. And I agree with this take. We talked about it on the radio last week. You know, I just play a little bit of devil's advocate just from the way you're talking about it. Like, Dont'e Thornton played against Arkansas. He played against Georgia. He was out there. He just wasn't making plays. So it's not like it was as simple as when Dont'e Thornton was out there, Tennessee's offense was just always dramatically different. Because I don't think that was necessarily the case. Tennessee had a lot of offensive struggles last year when Dont'e Thornton was on the field. He just did have that big play ability that nobody else had, and or nobody else was at least able to consistently have. Nico shows a couple more accurate passes. I think we probably talk a little bit different about Squirrel White's big play ability. But, you know, alas, he's gone too. So Tennessee's got to be able to find somebody. They got to find a way to create some chunk plays in the passing game, and they don't have any receivers back who did any of that last year. So that will remain a major question. And, you know, you feel better about the guys, I guess, that Tennessee has replacing Dylan Sampson. Not all of them are super proven either, but Star Thomas has done it at a ACC level, at a pretty high level. We've seen Deshaun Bishop be effective in flashes when he's healthy, and Peyton Lewis is obviously a young player who's supremely talented. So, I agree with all that.
You say Dont'e Thornton played. So here's something that will kind of blow your mind potentially. How many snaps do you think Mike Matthews had last year?
The entire season?
Yeah.
Trying to do some quick math. 115.
199.
Okay.
Brew McCoy and Chris Brazzell had 597 and 555 respectively. Dont'e Thornton 347. He was closer to Mike in snaps than Brew and Squirrel. Or Brew
that doesn't blow my mind because I remember him not playing a ton.
Like, my Chaz Nimrod was at 237. Like, he was closer to the Chaz Nimrod zone in snaps total.
Yeah. I'm aware of all that.
I'm just saying
my
that it's
point
one
is
of those
my
where you
point is
didn't get a
talk about
crazy
him.
amount of snaps from Dont'e is my point. I think he was 4th among Tennessee in snap counts at receiver.
Yes, my point is more. My point was more the way you talked about it. Like when these games, he had big plays. In the games that Tennessee didn't win, he didn't have big plays. It wasn't simply like he wasn't playing in those games.
Right.
I was pounding the drum all last year on this very program. You kept on talking about how Mike Matthews should play more, and I kept talking about how Dont'e Thornton needed to be out there more.
I think both should
some of
play
that was
more, 'cause I think
injuries.
both would have been valuable. Yeah. I mean, that's the part of it where, especially now that you know where things went with the receiver and everything else, like Mike should have been playing slot last year. I will maintain that one. Like Mike should have been in with Squirrel not being able to stay healthy, and what you're getting out of Squirrel at that point. I would have tried Mike there, and then Brew on the outside and Thornton on the other as much as you possibly could. Like that's what I would have done. But
yeah, I would have at least. I don't know if I'd have been playing Mike over Squirrel, but I would have been playing Mike over Chaz Nimrod in the slot.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
All those Chaz Nimrod snaps should have gone to Mike. Gut feeling, Ryan. I thought this was an interesting thought. Mateer, Aguilar, Taylor Green, Pavia has the best season in the SEC of the G5 to P5 starters this year.
Yeah, that was an interesting question. It's one of those tough ones where it's like, are we just going to be looking at stats at the end of the year? I mean, if it's what they mean to the team, I think it's, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's got to be Pavia. Like, he just carries that Vanderbilt offense. And look, I'm not even that high on him. Mateer, to me, it's a question mark. I just don't really. There's no player in the SEC, at least no quarterback in the SEC, to me that the difference in the ceiling and floor is wider than it is for Mateer. So I would either go Taylor Green or Pavia. Like Pavia's not going to be numbers, but if Tennessee or if Vanderbilt wins 6 games, I think Pavia is the difference in them winning, 3 games in 6 games or 2 games in 6 games. Like I continue to not think that team's very good, besides at least offensively, besides a quarterback that can make some stuff happen.
I think Taylor is probably the best bet of the 4. I would say year 2 in Bobby Petrino's scheme, if he can stay healthy. Like we saw him firsthand, he was really good against Tennessee last year. And I do think he has that upside. I mean, he was really good at Boise in 23. I do kind of wonder he passed for 3,000 yards. He ran the ball really effectively. The completion percentage down the stretch leaves a lot to be desired. But I mean, I could see a scenario where he breaks out in that final. The problem is Arkansas, I think, is just going to be bad. They brought in the Charlotte kid who was a really good high. What was his name? O'Shea or something like that. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was a big play guy at Charlotte this past year. And I could see something like that. Petrino still knows how to coach offense. Like Arkansas's offense wasn't really the problem there last year. And I could see that. Mateer, I could not sell any more stock on. Like I'm a advocate of dismissing John Mateer and the Heisman stuff in Oklahoma as a whole this year. Starting a true freshman left tackle, probably. I don't think the offensive line is going to be very good again. They really need Deion Burks to stay healthy. Don't love the receivers. Jaden Ott was bad at Cal last year. The 1,000-yard running year was 2 years ago. He averaged 3.3 yards per carry last year at Cal.
But you're forgetting how fun it was to say ought to go.
That it feels like forever ago.
It was a great bit.
Yes. And I'm just like, they played a G5 schedule. Like Cam Ward was playing a P5 schedule. He
I
played
agree.
top 15 Arizona, top Washington, top Oregon. Like different deal for Cam Ward 2 years ago.
No one is benefiting more from what someone else did than John.
100%. 100%. Yes. Everyone is just and I'm like, I don't see it, man. I'm selling. I think Aguilar is number 2. It's either Taylor Green or Aguilar. Pavia fell apart down the stretch last year. And now everyone has a full season of tape on Pavia in this offense in the conference. I think they're going to struggle to even get 4 wins. They're over under 4.5.
Wow.
They're absolutely not going bowling. Like I think Pavia is going to have a bad year. I think that system, they returned the most amount of production from last year among anyone in the SEC. I just don't see it. I think that schedule sucks. I think they go to Virginia Tech early. They've got that game went to overtime last year, and that was at home. I think
they also got a 21-0 lead to start.
You're not beating Bama again.
They're probably not losing to Georgia State.
Not losing to Georgia State, but I think they're gonna. It's a march to 5. If I'm a Vanderbilt fan, like you're not gonna get to 6, I don't think, but you might get to 5. And
yeah, I mean, I'm lower on. I think I'm lower on Pavia too. But
I just think Aguilar now has a high floor because I think the running game's gonna be really good. I think if he can find chemistry with the tight ends, like if he and Miles Kitselman and Ethan Davis and Dashawn Brame can build some chemistry there,
it's special. It's special watching Chase spin it.
I'm just
Hopefully,
saying.
like it's special watching Joey spin it this year.
I'm saying among these 4 quarterbacks, he absolutely has, like, he's in a system where he's not going to be asked to do a whole heck of a lot. Like, like I said, I think the offensive line is going to be better than a year ago. Tight ends, I think, is really deep. I think that's going to be a nice safety net. He's got 3 capable backs. I think he's going to be fine. Like, I think there is a lot of reasons for Aguilar to be comfortable and not overwhelmed to the extent that he was last year. And being an older quarterback, he's not going to be playing from behind all the time like he was at App State. I don't know. Like, if you told me Aguilar had a Joe Milton 23 like season, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's very much a possibility. And of those 4, like,
sure. I think you're going to be suicidal if he has a Joe
well, hold on.
Milton
I'm saying we're talking about when we're these 4 quarterbacks, and I'm saying if that
I'm aware of that. Diego Pavia last year was better than Joe Milton was in 2020.
But I'm not predicting Diego Pavia doing that again this year. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think Diego Pavia takes a step back, but we could be wrong. I just think Joey could be. This is the bet. Like, I think there is. It's hard. I'm just going in full clean slate. I can't wait. Where I stand on the Merklinger stuff. It's been a tough couple days here, and
it'll be special. We'll look back fondly on the 3 months that Chase tried to convince everybody that Jake Merklinger was the next Jake Fromm.
I'm not holding. Look, until he plays a snap this fall when he gets an opportunity, I'm not selling all my stock. Can't do it.
Yeah. I think that's smart at this point. You're so dug in. There's no point in selling all your
stuff.
I
also I root for the kid, man. I want it to be. I hope it's Jake, man. I also hope Joey works out too. Like, I just hope Tennessee has good quarterback play above all. Like, I don't really care who it is. I just want it to be good quarterback play. But Merklinger would have been a great story.
I do think this is where, like, just the context of the parameters of the debate are difficult because, like everything you said about Joey, I agree with. They're maybe not going to ask him to do a ton. Like, he's not going to be playing from behind. It's the scale. Like, Diego Pavia is going to be playing from behind. He's going to be asked to do a ton. I think Taylor Green's going to be asked to do a lot too. So, like, it's the whole all stats, all wins. They're not all the same, I guess, is my point. To where it's kind of hard to say, like, who's truly going to be better just because of the circumstances, that the confines that each one of those guys are playing in, I think, are so different.
I think that's fair. Final one for you, Ryan Schumpert. What do you make of Will Brooks signing with the Bucs, and is he the best safety in the Tim Banks era, in your opinion?
I was just happy for him more than anything when I saw it. I think with anything, like, I think it's notable that it's this late in training camp. Like, I think that gives him a legit shot to make the team. That it is this late. It's like anything. We'll see. I wouldn't quite go as far as say see it to believe it. He's going to make the team, but it's not a guarantee. But it's cool to see him get a chance. And I think he has been the best safety of the Tim Banks, Josh Heupel era at this point at Tennessee. There's some guys that are close, but I think the combination of he was pretty steady for Tennessee, and he made a lot of big plays and big moments for Tennessee last year. And from that aspect of making big plays and big moments, there's not another safety in the last 4 years even comes close. You might not be able to combine all the other safeties in 3.5 years, if you're going to count Turrentine starting at the other spot last year, and come up with as many big plays as Will Brooks made last year.
Can I say one thing about the plays though? Like, the NC State one, I lost my mind. Like, that's one of those all timers. Like, the Will Brooks pick 6 against NC State, an all timer. Just a delightful Tennessee memory that I can go back and play whenever I want for a nice little pick me up. It feels great because it's an iconic pick 6. It's so great because Tennessee was kind of in dicey water there. Like, that really was Tennessee needed that in a big way at that point in the game. The Alabama one though, I will say, because I've seen some he won the game. I don't think Jalen Milroe was driving down the field there. They were at their own 30. They didn't have a lot of time. Like, I don't think they were going to win that game. But it was a game sealing pick interception. Like, it was a great play by Will Brooks. But I will say, it's been there's been some revisionist history about that play and how we're referring to it. Does that make sense? Is that fair? Be like how they're talking about it's a game sealing play.
Game sealing is accurate.
Like, Drummond had a bigger interception in that game than Will Brooks.
For sure.
Like,
For
and
sure.
that's kind of lost in the with the way we're talking about the Will Brooks pick in the Alabama game. I'm like, that's how we should be talking about Dramad, because that changed the game too. Like, Alabama's
Yeah, I
driving
think
down.
people talk about Dramad that way. I mean, you probably see the Will Brooks one more because the game ended on that play.
Yes.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I'm
look,
like,
I don't disagree with you, Chase. Let me back up for a second here. Tennessee's beat Alabama 2 times in the last however many years. I don't think we're here to scoff upon game-sealing interceptions against Alabama. Personally, I'm not going to do it, especially for a walk-on from Vestavia Hills. I'm not going to do it.
Well, hold on. It was a great play, and I'm glad he made it. I'm just saying, Dramad actually made, like, when we were talking about the Alabama game, it's nitpicking. I'm just like, well, Dramad had a bigger play than the Alabama.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. But it is ridiculous nitpicking. It wasn't like they were up 2 touchdowns with 2 minutes.
I mean,
and I agree. I don't think Alabama was going to drive down the field if Will Brooks or dropped that interception. I agree with you, but it's not like it's out of the possibility.
Yeah, I just like the Dramad one was a momentum shifter. Like the Dramad one, like
for sure. I just don't know why we can't act like they're both great big plays.
Okay,
Dramad one was better. I agree. It was more important to game.
I think one was an okay. It was a good play. One was an elite play. Like Dramad was elite. Like that was an elite play by Dramad.
Yeah, for sure. I think a good play and a game-sealing pick and a game-sealing interception against your biggest rival that you've beaten 2 times the last 16 years. Yeah. You don't have to put a whole lot of caveats on it for me personally.
Okay.
The fact that it was just
you're making me the villain. This is nasty work.
I am making you the villain because you're the villain.
This is nasty work.
The underrated one's the Kentucky one because again, that was you talk about the NC State, kind of similar vibes of like Tennessee was not in a great spot. Incredible.
I would put that one over the Alabama one too. I think Alabama's last on the list.
Well, he had a 4th one too.
What was the 4th one?
Against Ohio State in the end zone.
Did he have a pick in that game?
Yeah, in the first half of that game.
Golly, was that in the end zone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very similar to, and now we're talking about big safety picks. I think it was Trayvon Flowers. He had to pick against Pittsburgh. Very similar play, the pick against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because he got his feet down. It was pretty awesome where he had to dance in the
Yeah. The Kentucky one, that was a big moment in the game, and a truly nothing worse for the stereotypes than the fact that Will Brooks didn't score on that play. He just had to run in a straight line to the pylon, and he would have scored, and he didn't. But Tennessee scored a touchdown, so it didn't end up costing them. But again, fantastic for the white safety stereotypes that he somehow got hawked down on that play and didn't score. As when I wrote the story on him, as the I can't remember if it was his high school defensive backs coach or high school head coach told me he's not in the SEC because of his foot speed.
But you know what's great? You know what I love about Will Brooks though is you can tell his teammates love him. Like the way everyone talks about him, Willie B, like
100%.
He earned 100% of the respect of his teammates. His teammates love Willie B. Like whatever fans like thought about Will Brooks, like his teammates could not have had a complete different perspective of him.
Yeah, Aaron Carter went on the big diatribe, I think, after the Kentucky game. Like he wasn't even really asked a question about him. He just kind of started talking about how he does everything the right way and what a great example he is. And coldest white boy on the block video is an all-time great edit, all-time great clip. So yeah, no, it's he was a truly awesome story, and you know I'm his biggest defender, at least on this program, and I was a hater or a naysayer at this time last year, so he proved just about everybody wrong.
Ryan Schumpert, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at RockyTopInsider.com this week?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a slow week just from the standpoint of they've closed camp to us. We know who the starting quarterback is. Heupel talks on Tuesday, but there's nothing else going on from a football press conference standpoint. And then obviously next week we'll get full gear into Syracuse mode. But there will still be football stuff to talk about. We're going to have some basketball press conferences on Wednesday. Nate Mint is, I believe, speaking for the first time to the media. So, a lot of cool stuff on that. And then I went over to Lindsey Nelson Stadium this evening just to take some pictures and some progress on the construction. So I'll have an article. Oh, goodness, got the hiccups. I'll have an article on the site probably by the time you're listening to this. It's sometime on Tuesday, detailing all that, or I mean, not really detailing it, but just showing the pictures. They've gotten a lot of work done in the last couple months. So good progress to this point in the offseason.
There you go. Well, I also saw JP Estrella unleashed a new, JP Estrella is in shape photo on Instagram this week. So the JP Estrella stock still through the roof. You gotta see him play 5-on-5, but
yeah, for sure. No, JP's, I mean, he's doing everything he needs to do to put himself in position to have success. He I believe he's the only player in like the May mini term that did not go home. He was the only one that stayed on campus for the entirety of the time.
Built different.
So, yeah, built different. He did the video he posted, I believe, was working out with a guy back in Maine. So this is the first time he's been home in a long time. And I think a much deserved break for him. And yeah, he's again, we need hopefully see him get more and more healthy and be completely full go. But I think he's done everything Tennessee could have asked for him to put himself in a position to have success this season.
I love it. Well, that'll do it for Ryan and I here on the Chase Thomas podcast. If you like today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, and comment here on the YouTube channel. You can also leave us a 5-star rating and write us a review on Apple, Spotify, or however you get this podcast. New episode every day this week right here on the Chase Thomas podcast. You can also listen to Ryan and I back on the Chase on Fox Sports Knoxville and Fan Run Radio tomorrow 1 to 3. As folks are listening to this today, 1 to 3 on a Tuesday. But all kinds of different ways you can support the show. You can email us for future mailbag questions, chasethomaspodcast@gmail.com. Go visit chasethomaspodcast.com for information about the show, past episodes, links, all that good stuff. Make sure you also subscribe to our newsletter, sportsrenaissanceman.com, and all that good stuff. So new episode back tomorrow, more important issues, guys, and company. So stick around here on this very feed and a whole lot more Tennessee Vols content coming your way. Until then, Ryan Schumpert, always a pleasure, my friend, and I will talk to you again next week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.